Hello and welcome to Fernbank Science Center's The Sky This Week for September 5th through 11th, 2021. We start the week with the moon at new phase, find some bright planets in the evening sky, and take a look at some of the fall constellations visible in the evening as well. Labor Day, Monday, the 6th of September this year, the moon is at new phase. Technically, that happens at 8:52 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. When the moon is in new, it's in the same part of the sky with the sun. So by 8:52, the sun has set and the moon has set along with it. Essentially, the new moon equals no moon. We don't get to see the moon that night in the evening. And take a look over the next few days as the moon moves along its orbit, we'll start seeing it toward the west. By the 7th, the bright planets in the southern part of the sky are easy to find if you have a really clear, really dark sky for your observing. If you're not sure about directions, if you put your right shoulder toward the direction where the sun appeared to go down, that's the direction west. Your nose will be facing toward the south. Venus should be toward your right, and the bright planets Jupiter and Saturn toward your left. Venus fairly low on the horizon, Jupiter and Saturn about halfway up the sky. Starting over there toward the west with Venus, this is a little confusing. Venus does not look like a big bright blob in the sky. Instead, it looks like a really bright small star. Other patterns of stars you might notice: the Big Dipper, 7 fairly bright stars up toward the northwest. The arc of the Dipper's handle points toward the bright star Arcturus, part of Boötes, the herdsman. And if you continue in that same direction, it'll take you right down to bright Venus, there toward the west. Swing over toward the south, the constellation of Scorpius, one of our summertime constellations, long curly tail, reddish star Antares for his heart, pedipalps, shoulders. Scorpions have shoulders. And a little bit to the left, the bright planets Saturn and Jupiter, much larger than the Earth and much farther from the sun than Earth is. Of the two, again, this is not quite to scale. Jupiter and Saturn are not big blobs. Look like really bright stars. And Jupiter is way brighter than Saturn when you find it. Look over toward the east. There's Jupiter and Saturn. They're a third or a half away up the sky by 9 o'clock at night. Jupiter's pretty easy to spot, nice and bright. Saturn, you might have to look a little bit. Try with binoculars. You might be able to find that little brighter dot. And just over toward the eastern part of the sky, there's a huge square called the Great Square of Pegasus. It's the body of Pegasus, the flying horse from mythology. Here's his back. There's the neck, tip of his nose out here. Use your imagination. A couple of front legs as he's galloping up the sky. The Andromeda Galaxy that we looked at a few weeks ago. Again, if you have a really dark sky, really clear sky, you might be able to see that little smudge of a galaxy. Atlanta astronomer Dan Llewellyn took this lovely picture of the planet Jupiter. It might look upside down with a great red spot, not where we're used to seeing it. Telescopes invert the image. You can see the spot itself, more orangey really, and those long, bright strips of clouds, the bands that are circling Jupiter. Toward the southwest part of the sky, by the 9th, we have a crescent moon starting to appear. Be careful, that big blob is not the moon. That one's the planet Venus, exaggerated for size. The moon is the little thin crescent right nearby. If you have a flat, clear western horizon, see how soon you can find the moon. After new phase, a little eyelash of a moon is visible on the 9th. And some of those same patterns, Big Dipper pointing to Arcturus in part of Boötes, the herdsman. Antares, the heart of Scorpius, kind of sideways on the sky in this image. If you can find that moon, use Arcturus and Antares as markers. Venus is the easy one. Right near Venus is where that moon will be. And then over the next few nights, if you watch, go out at the same time every night, look in the same direction toward the southwest. The moon is moving along its orbit, and each night it appears a little further to the east, a little higher in the sky, and a little fatter than it was the night before. On the 9th, it's fairly close to our planet Venus. By the 12th, it'll be over near Antares and Scorpius. And this is not too long after the sun has gone down. So start looking perhaps a little before sunset, and you'll be able to find the moon along the western part of the sky. And as always, thanks very much for listening. Please keep an eye on Fernbank Science Center's website, www.fernbank.edu. Friday evening, our at-home planetarium programs are on our Facebook page. And as always, thanks very much for listening. Have a great week.